Some stories are disturbing not just because of what happened, but because of who was involved. A 13-year-old girl goes missing after what should have been a normal day, and the truth behind her disappearance leads straight back to someone within her own family circle. What started as a search for answers quickly turned into something much bigger, exposing a pattern involving multiple young victims. And now, after 2 long years, there's finally a major update in this case. Today, we're breaking down what really happened to Naziah Harris and the sentence that was just handed down.
Detroit should never forget the name Naziah Harris. Now, just take a moment and look at the last photo taken of this child. Naziah Harris was a child. She was 13 years old. Study her face. Look at the light in her eyes. Naziah took this final photo of herself at school January 9th, 2024. She was never seen again. Prosecutors believe she was pregnant. She was brutally murdered. The child's body has never been found. When charges were brought, Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy highlighted this photo in a heartbreaking way.
She is smiling and waving and saying hello. But little did she know that she was really saying goodbye.
The next thing Detroit should never forget is how 36th District Court Judge Aaliyah Sabri at a hearing last week called out many adults in Naziah's life, saying they also failed this child.
From what I have heard over the last 4 days and 5 days total, is that several people failed her. I don't know where her mother is. I don't know anything other than that she was forced to live in a home where she was not protected or given the adequate attention and love.
But Judge Sabri went further about how family members and Detroit also failed this little girl before she even mentioned the name of the man sitting in front of her, Jarvis Butts, the man at the center of a 5-day hearing. Bit by bit, prosecutors here worked to connect the dots that Butts allegedly abused Naziah over a long period of time sexually, allegedly controlled her life. Prosecutors say Butts got Naziah pregnant, and the judge said she believes all of the evidence shows Butts allegedly tried to abort the pregnancy himself. But the judge says she believes Butts injured Naziah and then murdered her.
He intentionally killed her and tried his best to cover it up.
But without finding Naziah's body, investigators focused on Butts, and they had to find his cell phone. Butts told police he had nothing to hide and told police to go through his phone.
This is my phone. Y'all have possession of my phone. Take a look at it. Go through it. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know why she said.
Apparently, Butts was right. There was nothing linking him to abusing or killing Naziah on his cell phone, but that's where Detroit police data experts dug in, expert after expert detailing in court how they extracted all of the deleted material from his phone, his web searches, how to abort a pregnancy using antifreeze, and then the thousands upon thousands of text messages he sent to Naziah. Detroit Police Sergeant Shannon Jones and her team got those deleted texts, and for hours, Jones read hundreds of those texts in court, text after text showing a 42-year-old man in complete control of a 13-year-old girl.
He sends her a text that says, "Are you naked yet?" She replies to him and says, "No, I don't want to get naked." She replies, "Are you mad that I didn't get naked?"
5 days of this preliminary hearing, Butts was hunched over behind his lawyer with a mask on. I watched him for 4 days. He never looked up once. Jarvis Butts, the last person prosecutors say who was with Naziah. The final person, the judge says, who failed Naziah Harris.
And while I mentioned other people that failed her, Jarvis Butts, you are the monster in this whole picture.
Now, when I was looking into this story last year when it came out, it was horrible to hear the amount of abuse that the family experienced. It's generational, and it makes me think when we hear these stories and there are all these adults basically not doing anything, or maybe they even know, may explain why the cycle of abuse keeps happening. The judge was right to say the adults failed this child, because they did. I remember people saying when they saw the picture of Jarvis Butts and Naziah's aunt that's seen on the screen. Folks were saying that Butts allegedly dated someone like her just to get away with abuse. If you've been following this case, you already know this was never just another headline. This was a child who disappeared, a family that kept pushing for answers, and a story that has been heavy from the very beginning. To recap, prosecutors said Naziah Harris was last seen on January 9th, 2024, after getting off her school bus in Detroit. Investigators later accused 42-year-old Jarvis Butts of having an inappropriate relationship with her. In early 2025, he appeared in court and a not guilty plea was entered on his behalf to charges that included first-degree premeditated murder, second-degree criminal sexual conduct, and child sexually abusive activity. And one of the most painful details in this case is that Naziah's body was never found. This sick pedo even abused his own daughter. So fast forward to the update that happened last week. The emotions in that courtroom were overwhelming. According to Court TV, Jarvis Butts later pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in Naziah's death, along with multiple sexual conduct charges in separate cases. During sentencing, the courtroom reportedly erupted into sobbing, shouting, and chaos while victim impact statements were being read. Bailiffs had to remove multiple people from the room as Naziah's loved ones tried to put unimaginable grief into words. In the end, Butts was sentenced under a plea agreement to 35 to 60 years for Naziah's murder, plus 10 to 15 years on the other charges, with the sentences ordered to run concurrently, which, if I'm not mistaken, means the sentence will run simultaneously. He will also have to register on the pedo offender list. I really wish Naziah's remains was found so that child can be laid to rest. Even though her family won't be charged, a lot of people think they should be, and although in a lot of ways I do feel the family was complicit, what could they be charged with? Choosing the wrong mate or generational abuse? See, this is why you can't have any and everybody around your children, even if you are dating them. And you can't play with folks that make pedo jokes because honestly, how does it start when it comes to pedo behavior? Remember being a little kid, how innocent you were in your thoughts for the most part. All you wanted to do is play, take a nap, and eat candy. And then you have adults that are all around you, making jokes about the way you look in a sexual way, trying to hug you, kiss you, and always want to be alone with you. How does a predator get introduced to its prey? Usually, it's due to having close proximity to children. I just want to point out, this is a major reason why people are saying that the grandma and the rest of the woman, the adults of the family, need to be locked up. This video on the screen is very cringy to watch, and when I looked further into it, turns out this old man is Naziah's great uncle, her grandmother's brother, who is a Tier 3 offender, a habitual sexual abuser. Now, as I was about to wrap this video up, I came across an article which led me to this recent news clip.
Starts with breaking news.
Our breaking story today, the man convicted of murdering 13-year-old Naziah Harris found dead in his cell. Good afternoon, I'm Allie Hoxie. The Michigan Department of Corrections confirms Jarvis Butts was found dead inside of a prison intake center in Jackson. A spokesperson says that staff members tried to revive him, but he died shortly after 6:45 this morning. His death is being investigated as a suicide. 2 weeks ago, Butts was sentenced to 35 to 60 years in prison for killing Naziah Harris. Prosecutors say Butts murdered the teen after finding out that she was pregnant with his child. Her body has never been found. In addition to Naziah's murder, Butts was sentenced in 5 other criminal cases involving criminal sexual conduct. Michigan State Police had been called in to investigate the death of the 42-year-old. Stick with 7 News Detroit and WXYZ.com throughout the day as we continue
Just 2 weeks after being sentenced, Jarvis Butts unalived himself, and authorities say staff attempted life-saving measures, but it was too late. I guess after receiving a sentence of 35 to 60 years, he couldn't deal with being in prison for decades. So, looks like he took the coward's way out. And I'm not mad that he did. As part of his plea, Butts reportedly provided a statement about the location of where Naziah's body is located, but those details haven't been made public. But some people have some ideas of where he dumped her body. This case was already heartbreaking, but this latest update adds another layer, one that leaves more questions than answers. And situations like this remind us how important it is to protect children and to take warning signs seriously. What are your thoughts on this update? Do you think justice was truly served? Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more.